Hi, everyone. Welcome to Curated by Becta's Big Night in number 17. Thanks so much for ordering this week, and thanks for letting us be a part of a very special celebration at home. We have a beautiful menu for you tonight, one that's going to be very easy to clean up with as well. Why don't we go ahead and get started? I'm really excited about this menu. A couple of these dishes have been Rich's staples that he's brought back first at Gezellig and now at Becta over the years, and they're stunning. They're stunning, very special dishes. So I've gone ahead and taken the Beverly Creek lamb shanks and I've put it in the oven at 450 degrees, or if you're like me and you have a convection oven, 425. Always take 25 degrees off for convection because it cooks a little faster. I've also tossed the broccoli for the appetizer in olive oil, salt, and pepper, and also put it in the oven for 12 minutes. It's just behind the lamb shanks. When I pull the lamb shanks out to turn them, the broccoli will be ready. So why don't we start on the next part of the appetizer. So get a nice nonstick pan, and you're going to warm it up to medium-high heat. 1 tablespoon of neutral oil, either canola or grapeseed oil, per person. In my case, I've got grapeseed oil. You can use vegetable oil as well if you like. And you're going to get that to medium high. And I'm also going to pre-warm my main course vegetable plate. I'm doing the appetizer and main course together to keep the video short, but I really hope, because it's your big night in, that you do the appetizer, you enjoy it, and then you come back for the main course. So also 1 tablespoon per person of neutral oil with the main course. Okay, but the appetizer is what we're going to focus on first. I've also got our red currant demi-glaze going on in the back, and you're going to make sure to give it a little stir every once in a while. When you take it out, it's going to be one big block of gelatin, which is what you exactly want. I put a little water in the cup and shake it around, and then put that in the pot as well to get all the little last bit of goodness. Okay, so as soon as my halloumi pan warms up, the non-stick pan, we're going to sear it for 2.5 minutes per side or until golden brown. So I've got this little pastry spatula, which I really enjoy using. All right, so one way to tell if your pan is hot enough, just take a little bit of water, and as soon as it pops like that, then you are all set. So let's go with the halloumi. 2.5 minutes per side, or golden brown, whichever comes first. And I can start on the plating part of the appetizer. Hey Google, off. Again, I put my lamb shank in for 12 minutes. The broccoli was just behind. These are gorgeous, big, local lamb shanks from Beverly Creek, which is a wonderful supplier of ours. And you're going to put them on a baking sheet with parchment paper like this. Back in the oven. Hey Google, set a timer for 6 minutes. Just want to make sure my halloumi, whoa, we got some golden brownness pretty fast. So maybe even before 2.5 minutes, because you don't want to burn the halloumi. Very important. So for the appetizer, I'm going to put the muamara on the plate and spread it around with the back of a spoon. Great way to do it. Beautiful color. Now muamara, for those of you who are not familiar, is a lovely Middle Eastern red pepper puree. It's got lots of different spices in there, but it just pops. Beautiful balance of acidity and sweetness and earthiness, and it really works with the seared halloumi and the broccoli. That's very nice. Okay, maybe I turn that down a little bit too much. Here we go. Okay, so the broccoli can come out now. Here's my rag. And the white wine pairing for this, for those of you who are smart enough to order, is a Valencian wine from Spain. It's a blend of a lot of different grape varieties: Chardonnay, Macabeo, Pedro Jimenez, Malvasia, and Cortosina. And it's got a real, salty richness that I just love with this halloumi. Very aromatic. I'm a big fan. Okay, let's see how our halloumi is doing. We got golden brown on that side too. I'm just going to flip it back for 1 second, and I can turn that off while we're plating up our broccoli. So the broccoli is going to go down first, and you can put your florets in such a way that it's almost like a cradle for your halloumi. Because the colors, very Christmassy with the red and the green, are great in there. Now the halloumi can come out. Yeah, I've already turned this off. Now I'm going to move this guy over because I always love cooking on gas a little bit more than my induction oven. That's going to go right in the middle of your little broccoli crown. And we're going to put that off on the side. And I'm going to get my pan going on for my roasted beets. That's going to run for 5 minutes. So when the lamb is done, then my beets should be ready to have the Swiss chard thrown in. Let's go back to the appetizer. Broccoli on top, and then we've got this red za'atar, which is a beautiful blend. We're going to label this for you with different colors, so make sure that you're using the za'atar and not the dukkha, which is for the lamb. And the za'atar is going to be sprinkled all over the halloumi and the broccoli. And it's such a beautiful garnish. If some sprinkles out onto the side of the plate, that's actually a good thing. But make sure you get the halloumi. You do not need to season the halloumi because it's got lots of saltiness in there already. But here we are, pan-seared halloumi with the muamara, the red za'atar, and the roasted broccoli. I can't wait to try that. All right. Give our roasted beets a little spin. Give our red currant demi-glaze a little spin. And you're going to get some unsalted butter ready. Always use unsalted butter with us because we're at home as well, because you get to control the amount of salt because sometimes it varies in the butter when you get salted butter, and it's hard to know. Let me tell you about the great Tuscan red wine. This is a special one, but it's actually from a place that my family and I visited when we went to Tuscany a few years ago, called Siena. It's the hottest place on the planet, it feels like at the time. It was like 45 degrees in the shade. But boy, did we have a great time. And it's super hot, which is great for growing Sangiovese grapes. I'm a huge fan of this wine. It's just bright and vibrant and earthy, and just it explodes. You know, it's got great acidity balance, which is what you need with the braised lamb shank. So just keep that in mind. Okay, our roasted beets are looking nice. I might have put a little bit too much oil on there because it's popping a little bit. And we are getting close to putting the next part in. So we're going to add the Swiss chard, and we're going to melt 1 tablespoon of butter per person. As soon as it's melted, that's when I'm going to throw in the Swiss chard, and that's when we're going to season things. The appetizer, by the way, you just need to season the broccoli. Hey, Google, off. I'm going to turn the oven off, open it up a little bit. Yeah, the lamb's looking great. Let's get some space here for it. And as soon as this guy is melted, I will get my non-stick tongs out. We're going to separate your Swiss chard leaves so that the red beets don't stain them. And this is when we hit it with a bunch of salt and pepper. Be generous with the salt and pepper because the beets have a lot of salt or a lot of sweetness, and the Swiss chard has a lot of bitterness, of course. You just want that to braise in there. Okay, lamb can come out. That is looking good. I'm going to put it over here. Actually, you know what? I can go right on the cutting board. I want to keep mixing this around so that the Swiss chard braises nicely. All that popping is a little bit of water that was in the Swiss chard. Reacts with the oil. And I want to go back to the chef's directions here. Once your chard is cooked for 1 minute, you want to toss the pine nuts and the raisins in. So we've got a real Middle Eastern feel here. Hope you guys like that. I certainly do. Our chef really enjoys little Middle Eastern stuff. We're going to spin that around, warm it up. By the way, as soon as you pull the lamb out, get the side that has the most meat on it, because one side will have a little bit more bone, and this is where you sprinkle the dukkha liberally. Because, you know what, this side is not sticking quite as much, so I'm going to roll it around in the juice. And that is just falling off the bone. It's beautiful. And the dukkha, once it has a little bit of juice on it, is going to stick like crazy, and it gives it a really nice nutty quality. Can't believe it. This is like the first meal ever where I'm going to plate appetizer, then main course, then dessert. All right, we are good to go. So the roasted beets and the Swiss chard, I'm using these big coupe bowls tonight, but you can use big plates as well. Make sure to try to spread out the pine nuts and the Swiss chard. I'm going to put a little less Swiss chard in my son's plate because my wife actually just is going on a trip today. So it's just the two of us. And maybe adults like Swiss chard a little bit more than 16-year-olds. And that's great. Make sure to turn off the burner. The oven is off. And now, bring that over. That was one good looking lamb shank. Beautiful. A little bit of extra dukkha and lamb. Can't leave any behind, although there's going to be a lot of leftovers for tomorrow. These are huge lamb shanks. And then we've got our red currant demi-glace. Now, putting it right on the lamb. Will naturally fall around the plate. This is something our chef is incredible at. These big beefy lamb reduction sauces. They are so glorious. Rich textures. Lovely. Turn that guy off as well. I've got a little paper towel to clean up. Gorgeous. And a little bit of salt and pepper to finish off. Very nice. There's our gorgeous braised lamb shank with the dukkha spice, the roasted beets, Swiss char, and that red currant demi glaze. And finally, should be really easy, make sure to bring your dessert to room temperature. And tonight we've got a chocolate and cherry brownie with dark chocolate icing. And then we've got some cocoa nib sablé. We're just going to spread that out. I've got it in a little pasta bowl, which I really like using for desserts, but any plate will do. I'll clean up the edges here, make it look really nice. There we go. You heard me say it, dark chocolate and cherry brownie with cocoa nib sablé. Anyway, thanks again for ordering this week, and thanks for letting us be a part of a big night